the Kingdome in Seattle, Washington, the Kansas City Chiefs opened their season and look for a 6th straight season opening victory against the permanently downtrodden, or so it must seem to Seattle fans, Seattle Seahawks. Hello again, everybody. I'm Jim Lampley. I've waited 20 years to do a game with Bob Golick, and now here's my chance.
Thanks,
and Bob, two central figures in this game. Steve Bono, in his 11th year in the league, is for the first time an established starting QB at the beginning of the season.
Right, Steve Bono backing up Joe Montana in San Francisco for a number of years. Heard a rumor that Joe might be retiring in Kansas City. Decided to come here and is getting the starting job.
And while the rest of the world may think it's a very big deal for Steve to step into Joe Montana's shoes, he doesn't necessarily agree.
I think it is the right situation, and as I've said, I'm not going to replace Joe Montana. I'm just, as Mike Holmgren used to say, you just have to pick up where he left off. So I think it is the right situation, and I'm excited about it.
Tough act to follow for Bono. That isn't the case for the brand new Seattle Seahawks coach, hometowner Dennis Erickson, who arrives after 6 years at the University of Miami, where he twice won the collegiate national championship in 1989 and 1991. Now an entirely different kind of challenge.
Right, more so the story that he's coming from college this year, but also the changes he's doing with the team. A more up-tempo, up-rhythm type of offense that Rick Meyer is going to have to pick up with. And on defense, getting away from the Reed-style defense into an attack-oriented defense.
And there's a look at Erickson along the sideline and his opposite number, Marty Schottenheimer. Schottenheimer looking for what he thinks of as his annual trip to the playoffs. He's been as proficient at getting his team into the playoffs as any coach in the league. Hasn't ever gotten to that Super Bowl level despite 3 trips to the AFC Championship game. Lynn Elliott, who kicked it in the Super Bowl for the Cowboys back in January '93, is for the 2nd year the place kicker for the Chiefs, and he'll be kicking off. And deep to receive for Seattle. On the far side of the field, it will be James McKnight, and on the near side, Corey Harris. So as McKnight and Harris wait, and Lynn Elliott tees the football at the 30-yard line, Dennis Erickson awaits the beginning of his first National Football League game. Born and raised in Everett, Washington, 30 miles up the road. Began his coaching career here before migrating into the college ranks, where he was a head coach at Wyoming, at Idaho, at nearby Washington State, and then at Miami. Kickoff 95 for the NFL on NBC. Lynn Elliott to put the foot to the ball to the Chiefs. And it's Corey Harris who takes it at the 5-yard line for the Seahawks, and Harris gets a hole across the 30 to the 32-yard line. Good return. Seattle will begin with pretty good field position. William White downfield to make the stop for the Chiefs, and he'll stay in the game as the regular free safety for Kansas City. Seattle offensive front shuffled for the 5th time in 5 years. Jim Sweeney arrives after a decade with the Jets to anchor the center position where Ray Donaldson is gone. Howard Ballard hasn't lived up to expectations. Backs and receivers, and the focus is on the rookie Joey Galloway, who moves in as the starting split end with as much hoopla as any offensive rookie coming into the league for right now. Chris Warren, 40% of the offense a year ago, is not at the setback right now as Steve Broussard gets the first call, and Broussard in the game in Warren's place takes the pass from Rick Meyer and goes for a gain of about 9. Tracy Simeon on the stop. Kansas City front 4 and linebackers, you know, number 90 Neil Smith and number 58 Derek Thomas are Pro Bowl fixtures. Dan Saliamua is expected to thrive in the brand new Kansas City aggressive one-gap defensive scheme. Good secondary. Collins, Hasty, Brian Washington, and William White. The most talented player is Dale Carter, who may become a starting corner within the next few weeks and maybe matched a great deal against Galloway today. On first down after a gain of 10 on the first play, it's Warren now in the game. The trademark running play of the Seattle offense. Warren gets a couple before Saliamua makes the stop.
Yeah, but they really came out with an interesting formation here on this last play for a running play. They had Carlister Crumpler split wide out to the sideline, and 3 wide receivers spread out. So they're really trying to give a lot of different formations to kind of confuse the defense early on.
3 wide receivers on second down. As Meyer Gives to number 31, Broussard. And Broussard, the former Washington State Cougar, who did great work for Erickson when Erickson was there in Pullman, picks up another first down for Seattle before Derek Thomas makes the stop for the Chiefs.
Well, this is a great way to start. Obviously, we talked about this up-tempo offense, but right off the bat, you can see they want to get the running game established, and great blocking up front, that just opening the holes, pushing guys all different ways, and Broussard, a great one, always at being able to pick out a spot and finding his way to it, regardless if that's the planned hole.
Now Warren at tailback, Broussard in a slot as they go 4 wide. The give is to Warren, and he's met at the point of attack. It will be stopped for no gain there as Darren Mickle, number 92, the right side defensive end for the Chiefs, makes the stop.
Well, Mickle is a guy that he's not one of the big name guys on that defensive front when you're talking about Derek Thomas, Neil Smith, Dan Saliamua. Mickle is a guy that that has been out there and really is one of the underrated guys in that defensive front. Marty Schottenheimer has a lot of good things to say about him.
Second down. Meyer rotates to the left side of the pocket and finds Brian Blades downfield for first down yardage. James Hasty makes the stop, but Blades, 81 catches a year ago, has enough for another Seattle first down.
Well, Rick Meyer is the guy coming off his sophomore year, which was just a little bit rough. One of the things that he's really had to work on was his footwork. Great concentration, opening up his body so he can see the whole field. Turns and throws over to left. Brian Blades wide open, a little bit hasty, leaving him just a little bit of too much room to cover, and got completion.
13-yard gain down to the 32-yard line of the Chiefs' third first down of the drive for Seattle. Meyer's throw on first down is behind Warren. It looked as though Warren and Meyer were not quite in sync. Brian Washington there on the coverage for Kansas City.
Yeah, great. First, a quick drop, 3 steps. Stops. It was a timing pattern. He was going to hit Warren out in the flat. Chris Warren told us that there was going to be a lot of passes thrown to him. Three steps you see right there, and a quick release. Just a little bit off. I think Warren kind of broke out to the outside. Meyer threw a little bit behind him.
Second down 10. Again, the football at the 32. This time, 2 wide receivers to the right side, and Joey Galloway to the top of the screen. And the give is to Broussard, and Broussard, with his 3rd carry of the game, stopped by Derek Thomas. It's a short gain, pickup of 1. It'll be 3rd down 9.
Well, Derek Thomas being asked to play stack linebacker this year in this new defense that the Chiefs have come up with. A lot of right there came through a wide open hole, making the play, but that is what they're expecting out of him. He needs to get up. He needs to get up and fill the holes quickly. Changes from him. There'll be some coverage, but all in all, a good start.
On 3rd and 9, the Seahawks bring their base offense onto the field. Galloway to the bottom, Blades to the top. Meyer looks down the middle, and the pass is batted down by number 97, Dan Saliamua.
Well, that's a heck of a job at 6 feet, 315 pounds. You can see him right here on the left side of the screen, working straight up, a power rush to the inside. And they just tell the coaches tell you at the end, they say, hey, if you can't get to the quarterback, you make sure you get your hands up, get it in your face.
John Casey left for free agency. Todd Peterson will attempt his first official regular season field goal for the Seattle Seahawks. It'll be a 49-yard try. Peterson appeared in a couple of games for the Arizona Cardinals a year ago. Gets it away cleanly and straight down the middle. So the Seahawks have scored on their first drive under head coach Dennis Erickson to take a 3-0 lead over Kansas City in the Kingdome.
All right, well, welcome back to the Kingdome. Hometown boys scoring the first points in the regular season. These are the first game that counts, first points that counts, and he's hoping for a lot more, but a lot of excitement in front of his hometown.
And a successful kick for Todd Peterson, stepping into the job vacated by John Casey, who wanted to go play for Carolina and got $4.3 million over 5 years to do it. Mark Vanover waits at the goal line for Peterson's kickoff. And the kickoff is short, goes to Leroy Thompson at the 16-yard line, and Thompson came over from the Patriots as a free agent, gets across the 30 to the 31-yard line. Now Steve Bono comes on for his first possession as the official starting QB of the Chiefs. The offensive front is a good one. Alt, Zott, Grunhard, Shields, Criswell added this year. as a free agent from the Jets. Kansas City backs and receivers. You can see that Marcus Allen will appear at tailback to start. They'll also use Greg Hill and Leroy Thompson. When they go to the three wides, Danon Hughes comes on as the third receiver. And
the NFL on NBC is brought to you by American Honda, celebrating their 25th anniversary of selling cars in America.
Changing directions, as is so frequently the case, moves forward for a gain of about 2 before Terry Wooden made the stop for Seattle. Here's a look at the Seattle front four and linebackers. Cortez Kennedy, a perennial Pro Bowler. They're hoping that Sam Adams can fulfill his potential this year and take the pressure off Kennedy in the middle of the defense. Carlton Gray was playing outstanding football at corner before breaking his forearm a year ago. Corey Harris comes over from Green Bay to face a lot of pressure. When they go to the dime, Raphael Robinson and Tony Brown will come onto the field, and they should be using the dime a lot. After a gain of 2, it's second down 8. And Bono gives to Kimball Anders. And Anders, who
celebrating their 25th anniversary of selling cars in America,
runs the ball this time for a gain of 7, close to first down yardage. It'll be third down and less than a yard. Robert Blackman made the stop for the Seahawks.
Well, interesting choice of selections. First play, let's run Marcus Allen, the quick guy, up the middle, and run Kimball Anders on the second play to the perimeter. 5'11", 230 pounds, but he's got the speed that can get out there, and the Seahawks are going to be facing that situation all day, trying to chase down those guys in the perimeter.
Anders out of the football game on third and less than a yard. They go double tight end, give it to Marcus Allen, who gets outside, picks up the first down, and is across the 45 to about the 46 before Robinson and Gray made the tackle.
Well, defensively up front, they're playing very aggressive defense. They're attacking the line of scrimmage. Now, what needs to be done, though, also have to have support from the linebackers and from the safety and the cornerback coming on in support. Everybody attacking up front. Marcus Allen, being the guy that he is, the ability to cut and break to the outside. So you're going to have to balance that attack defense with the ability to react to his cut.
First down at the 46-yard line. Bono's first attempted pass goes into flat. Complete to Kimball Anders, and Anders has a gain of about 8. Steve Bono, 1 for 1. He was, in preseason statistics, largely meaningless. He was the highest-rated quarterback in the NFL.
113 in the rating, but hey, you may say it may be meaningless, but I'm sure he'd like to hear that number.
Yeah, I'm sure it's meaningful to Bono and to the Chiefs brass, who wanted him to have a good preseason and demonstrate his ability to run this offense. Second down 7 after the gain of 3 on first. Willie Davis comes to the bottom of the screen. Lake Dawson back in motion to the top. They give one reverse to Dawson. He's trapped back at his 40-yard line. Cortez Kennedy and Antonio Edwards not fooled along the right side of the Seahawk defensive line.
Well, Cortez Kennedy is the man that they've counted on for a number of years of being explosive. You see his ability to get upfield, change direction. Antonio Edwards coming in, Cortez Kennedy changing. That's the nature of this defense this year. They want these guys to attack and get upfield. It may initially be making it harder for them to react to some of the outside plays, but things that start in the middle is certainly going to blow them up early. 3rd
and 16 after the loss of 9. Football's at the 40. They got to get it to the Seattle 44 for a first down. Draw play to Allen. Lots of running room. He gets to midfield and no farther. Robert Blackman again there to make the stop from his strong safety position and from right at midfield. The Chiefs will have a punting situation.
Well, the Seahawks trying to get a pass rush here. You can't pass rush both inside guys to the outside. Somebody's got to cover the middle, whether it be to stop a draw play in this situation or to keep the quarterback from stepping up. But they can't have both defensive tackles going to the outside, leaving the middle open.
Crowd buzzes as Joey Galloway goes deep to receive a punt for the first time in the regular season. Louis Aguiar angles to the sideline. Short kick. Galloway steps up to make a fair catch at the 20-yard line. So the Seahawks, leading 3-0, will start from their 20 when we come back. First time in 20 years of Seattle Seahawks football that the home opener has not been sold out. On first down from the 20, Rick Meyer throws, complete to number 89, Brian Blades. Second catch of the game for Blades. Hasty again on the coverage, and another first down for Seattle.
Well, so far, they are just picking on James Hasty, just coming in from the Jets.
So it'll be interesting to see how much playing time Dale Carter, number 34, will get, and whether, in fact, he replaces Hasty at some point during the game.
They're trying to tell us that they're all interchangeable, that these guys are all play the same, so we'll see how the rotation goes.
First down 10 from the 34-yard line after pickup of 14 on first down. Give this to Chris Warren. Leading rusher in the AFC a year ago. Has a solid game before Brian Washington knocks him out of bounds. Gain of about 4. It'll be second down 6.
Student body left. You see all the linemen just taking that lead step and taking the sweep off to the right side.
You can see that we're awaiting Howard Rowe's interpretation of the penalty call on this play.
You see Chris Warren being pulled down at the end of the play. I think Chris Warren not liking that he's being pushed so far to bounds, threw the ball at Brian Washington.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, number 42 on the offense, 15-yard penalty, repeat first down.
That'll be the call.
Crowd at first thought that the call was going to go against Kansas City for unnecessary roughness against Warren after he went across the sideline.
Right.
Instead, it's Chris who draws the flag.
Right, Brian Washington kind of hooked onto him and carried him out of bounds. But right at the end, that little ball throw. Referees don't like that for some reason.
Takes the football all the way back to the 23-yard line and makes it first down, 20 yards to go for Seattle. Seahawks have moved the ball well so far in the game. On this play, completion to Warren in the flat, pickup of about 5. Mark Collins wrestles Warren out of bounds.
Well, we're going to see a more complete Chris Warren this year. You know, he is one of those guys that has been so understated in the NFL. I mean, last year he had like almost 1,500 yards and really had been one of the most productive rushers in the league last year. But I think being up here with a team that hasn't been that successful really makes it hard for people to get to know him.
Dennis Erickson says they will feature him as a receiver this year. So here's another catch by Warren. Gets away from the first tackler. But Darren Mickle is there to eventually make the stop, and it'll be a loss on the play in third and a long yardage coming up.
Well, they really felt that it was kind of rough on Chris Warren to have all the carries all the time, kind of wearing him out. This year with their new quick rhythm offense, they want to utilize him more in the passing attack. So they'll give him less carries out of the backfield, but more receptions, perhaps try and keep him a little fresher for the end of the game since he is such a productive back.
And at the arrival of 3rd and 16, the Seahawks bring the third receiver, Ricky Prohl, number 88, onto the field, and the Chiefs bring the third corner, number 34, Dale Carter, on for coverage. Throwing against Carter and trying to hit Galloway is Meyer, and Carter had Joey Galloway blanketed down the sideline, so Meyer threw it out of bounds.
Well, not much of a rush up front. A little bit of a rush, not so much inside. Derek Thomas coming from the outside, having a good rush on them, but Dale Carter really being the guy that all over the receiver that time.
Pro Bowl punter Rick Tootin comes on to boot it away for Seattle. Deep to receive, Tamarek Vanover stands at his 34-yard line. Chiefs anticipating good field position, unless Tootin can do something about it. High, long kick. Pushes Vanover back to his 24-yard line. Gets past some of the coverage, but not all, as he gets across the 35 to about the 37-yard line. Dean Wells, reserve middle linebacker, downfield to make the stop for Seattle. Seahawks lead 3-0.
Derek Thomas, big factor in the Kansas City defense, adjusting to a new system this year.
Says he likes his position this year. He can be a classic linebacker type. On first down, Bono gives to Kimball Anders. And Anders gets it to about the 40 before Tyrone Stowe, the new middle linebacker for the Seahawks, makes the stop. Stowe, number 59, comes over from Washington, where he made nearly 150 tackles to replace Rod Stevens, who went in the opposite direction to Washington.
And he's a guy who's just he's a big run stopper. He likes getting up there and getting up in the mix, throwing his body into the trench.
9th-year veteran out of Rutgers. Gain of 3 on first this time looks downfield to a wide open Willie Davis, and Davis will go all the way in. Perfectly executed 60-yard touchdown pass. Seahawks fell for the play fake.
Well, they said there was a lot of changes on defense. I don't think that's one of the ones they wanted to include. Secondary got suckered up, pulled up. See here, we got a play action fake to Marcus. Robert Blackman let Willie Davis get right by him. I don't know what he was, how he got pulled up, but he was pulled up. Did not go with Willie Davis, and Willie being the pretty much the only speed guy that they have left on that receiver corps.
Hard to know whether coverage belonged to Blackman, the strong safety, or Carlton Gray, the corner on that side. You suspect, because Davis came from the outside, that it might have been Gray who bit a little bit too hard on the play fake. But the kick is good, and on Steve Bono's first touchdown pass of 95, Casey leads 7-3. A look at fourth-year veteran Willie Davis out of Central Arkansas, celebrating his first touchdown catch of 1995. Steve Bono, 60 yards. Puts the Chiefs on top of the Seahawks 7-3 with 4 minutes exactly remaining in the first period in the Kingdome. And Lynn Elliott kicks it deep. Corey Harris, number 30, will bring it back to the Seahawks. Harris averaged over 30 yards per kickoff return with Green Bay 2 years ago, and he still has that talent. Long return here, gets it back almost to the 40-yard line before Tony Richardson, the reserve fullback, got him out.
Well, let's take a look at the touchdown again. We got Willie Davis, receiver, Carlton Gray, Robert Blackman out here as safety. Davis is just there's a takeoff down the field. Now it's a zone, and these guys just bit too hard on the play action. You see Blackman come up, Willie Davis running right past him.
As the Chiefs defense lines up against Seattle's offense, which moved well early in the game, faltered the last time without good field position. Now starting from the 39, Meyer throws complete in the flat to Chris Warren. Warren with yet another reception. He may have as many in the first quarter here as he had all of last year. Derek Thomas made the stop for the Chiefs.
Well, one of the things that they talked about with Derek Thomas this year is that not only is he going to be a rusher, but he was going to be a coverage guy again. Here he's coming out in the zone. Just a little bit, it wasn't his responsibility to be on Chris Warren. Washington should be a little bit closer, but that's one of the things you're going to see from Derek Thomas this year, more coverage.
Gain of 8 on first down, second down 2 now with the football near the 47-yard line. Meyer adjusting, 4 wide in the Seattle lineup. And the throw is complete to Blades for first down yardage across midfield to the Kansas City 47. And again, Derek Thomas in coverage on the stop.
Well, for a guy who loves to just tee it up and go after the quarterback, he's doing a lot more running than he really wants to. At the left of your screen, you're going to see Derek Thomas just out there in his zone coverage. Probably should have been a little bit closer. When you got a guy crossing your zone, you got to latch on. If it's not a man coverage, but you got to latch on to him. Blades being a little bit quicker makes it tough.
First down for the Seahawks. Thomas insisted yesterday the new scheme would give him more chances to rush the passer, thus saying, "Ow." On first down, the completion to Carlester Crumpler, the tight end. Brian Washington makes the stop immediately, but with the rhythm, ball control, passing attack, Seattle moves it again. Pickup of about 4. It'll be second down 6. Make it 3, second down 7.
And this is what we talked about at the open of the show, was the quick rhythm of this new offense, the thing that Rick Meyer was going to have to adjust to. And Dennis Erickson said that he's adjusted very well to this quicker rhythm. 3-step, 5-step drop, dump the ball off, and the receivers are adapting very quickly also to the rhythm of his throw.
Completion percentage went down last year. It'll go up this year if he stays healthy. Pump fake on second down. Wide open is Joey Galloway. Galloway with his first regular season catch fumbles it away. Brian Washington inside the 10, bringing it back. Galloway gets up, can't make the tackle. Now Chris Warren finally brings Washington down at the Kansas City 10. So there's excitement and disappointment as the star rookie Galloway makes his presence felt and then gives the ball away.
Well, Joey Galloway has incredible speed. He is a guy they're really looking to just to stretch the field. Just runs by the defender. makes the catch. Hasty once again, a little bit late, but Hasty this time aware of ball control, knocks the ball out. Washington picking up and just covering a lot of yards to get very few.
Warren with an angry tackle. And you get a look at Galloway. Chagrined, no doubt, after having had the football punched out from behind by James Hasty. Greg Hill in the game at tailback for Kansas City as Bono runs the offense from the 10. Dangerous pass dropped by Hill, and it's ruled a forward pass. Incompleted forward pass as the Seahawks players were thinking touchdown.
Well, we're gonna go back to the fumble with Galloway. Galloway thinking he's got a clear sailing, but veteran ball player Hasty, you can see him going right for it. I mean, talk about a guy who is very ball aware. Go right for it, punching that ball out. He figures, hey, you burn me, I'm gonna make you look bad.
And Hasty got it out on the second try. No gain on first down after the incompleted pass. Second down 10. Less than capacity crowd trying to put itself in the game, and this play is blown dead. Greg Hill about to get his first official carry of 95.
Pretty interesting, Jim, though, that we've seen.
Prior to the snap, we got a false start on number 76 offense. 5-yard penalty.
John Alt.
Replay second down.
Okay, you're going to see it to the right of the screen. John Alt to tackle. His hand down just a little bit early.
And you were saying, Bob.
But what I was saying was one of the things that we're seeing early on is where Marcus Allen was the guy who was the mainstay, the big production guy for this offense. So far it's been Kimball Ander, and now they're trying to get Greg Hill into the mix.
Davis in motion to the top of the screen. Bono gives to Hill. And Hill, who couldn't get going in preseason, is collared here by Terry Wooden.
Boy, Terry Wooden is just a guy that is just a great ball player, great ability, great quickness, and you'll see it here. Oh, there he is up there, 90. Terry Wooden just breaking up, linebacker, and just great quickness, great awareness, and it's tough. I'll tell you what, especially for these guys, these bigger linebackers, making a tackle like that in open field.
His teammates say most underrated outside linebacker in the league. Bono faces third down 13 with the football at the 7. Davis again in motion. Bono from the end zone, complete, and first down yardage as Kimball Anders gets it across the 20 to about the 22 before the dime back. Number 29, Tony Brown, makes the stop for Seattle.
One of the things we got to look at here, they had great protection up front for Steve Bono. Some big pie. We looked at John Alt making a little mistake before, but they really, you got to remember, they've got a great group of guys up front, and Grunhard, Zott, Shields, against some big people. McCrary, trying to make the rush outside, but look at the infighting up in front there. Those are some big bodies slammed together.
Joe Nash in the game, 72, to spell Sam Adams at the left defensive tackle position. Bono looks to the second option, finds Marcus Allen, and Allen has another Kansas City first down across the 35 to about the 36. Dean Wells in the game, spelling Tyrone Stowe at middle linebacker, makes the stop, number 95. And the quarter comes to a close as the Chiefs are on the move in their own territory, having picked up a couple first downs in a row. This one off a Marcus Allen catch and run. And as the clock runs down to end period number 1, it's Kansas City, which holds a 7-3 lead as it looks for a 6th consecutive season opening victory. We'll bring you back to the NFL on NBC from the Kingdome after this. Opening day at the Kingdome in Seattle, opening day of Dennis Erickson's professional football coaching career. And right now, his Seattle Seahawks trail the Kansas City Chiefs 7-3. Take a look at number 94, Antonio Edwards, who's along the sideline treating an injury at this moment. He's replaced in the lineup by number 99, Michael McCrary once again. Kansas City on 1st and 10. Bono gets the football to Greg Hill. Tyrone Stowe makes the stop after a gain of a couple up to the Kansas City 39. Webster Slaughter on the field for the first time. Reunited with his old coach, Marty Schottenheimer, for whom he had glorious moments in Cleveland. Went to Houston last year. Wound up getting spat out of Jeff Fisher's system, Bob.
Well, this is Webster Slaughter. He gets down there and he gets into it, and wherever he is, he wants to let people know that he's there. You can see there right away, just getting and letting know Harris that it's going to be a long day and he's going to be in his face.
8-3 on first down. It's 2nd and 7. Get the football to Hill, and this time Hill has an opening and a burst of speed through the hole across the 50 to the 47-yard line before Carlton Gray made the stop for Seattle.
Great vision by Greg Hill as he takes the ball off the left side, just makes it that quick cut, and obviously a very large hole up the middle of that line. How that could be with Sam Adams and Cortez Kennedy, but he found it and picked up a big yardage.
Schottenheimer looking for more explosiveness in the cheap running game. Hill is the man designated to give it to him. 14-yard gain there. First down from the 47, Hill again, and it's a gain of about 3 before Tyrone Stowe again made the stop for middle linebacker.
Well, one of the things that's happening in the Kansas City play selection here in the run game is with Seattle's new attack style defense going after the ball, KC's coming out a lot of it with misdirection blocking up front. You're seeing a lot of down blocks on linemen. You're seeing backside guards and tackle pulling, which is a way that you can defeat this type of a defense.
Paul Hackett, man in the middle, offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs. Fake to Anders, throw in the flat. The number 82, Derek Walker. Walker, the stout tight end out of Michigan, is stopped by Robert Blackman, but not before picking up first down yardage almost to the 35-yard line.
Well, you got to give Blackman a lot of credit on that one. He really had a lot of patience in staying there. The play action took the play to the defense's right, and the Chiefs sold it very, very well. And started up, Blackman staying backside, made it a big play. It could have been a much larger completion.
Tony Richardson in the game at fullback for the Chiefs, number 49. Operating out of the base offense, Greg Hill on first down, and Hill again with a gain of about 3.
Whatever hole that was that he ran through before, Sam Adams and Cortez Kennedy have decided, let's close that.
Good look at Kennedy.
Cortez has really has dropped some weight this year.
And hoping that Adams can take the pressure off of him, eliminate enough double-team blocking that he can find some gaps to go through in the new one-gap defense for the Seahawks. 10th play of the drive now as the Chiefs leading 7-3. Give it again to the fullback, Kimball Anders, and Cortez Kennedy gets far enough outside to make the tackle.
Well, talking about Cortez and Sam Adams and the big guys inside, look at the explosiveness, the attack of these guys. Cortez, now there's a big guy who has so much field awareness, gets chopped, gets double teamed, rolls and gets up and makes the big play. Even though he's down on the ground, rolling over, trying to recover, he still knows where that ball is going to end up. Making a big play, great awareness, and he's trying to pass that quickness and explosiveness on to his new partner, Sam Adams.
Makes the tackle for no gain, brings up 3rd down 7. Need to get the football down to the 25-yard line for a Kansas City first down. Bono throws down the middle, caught, but short of first down yardage by Danon Hughes. Winston Moss there to make the play for Seattle, and just as Tyrone Stowe replaced Rod Stevens at middle linebacker, Winston Moss steps in for Rufus Porter, who left to go to New Orleans from his big play outside linebacker position. And because of Moss's play, Kansas City will settle for a Lynn Elliott field goal try.
Winston Moss, I played with him with the Raiders in Los Angeles. He is a good all-around guy. He's a great pass rusher, but he also has that quickness and man-to-man coverage in passing situations and nickel situations.
46-yard try for Elliott. Gets it up, and true. So from 46 yards away, Lynn Elliott has his first Kansas City Chiefs field goal of 1995, and that extends Kansas City lead over Seattle to 10-3. Oh, I see. On the far side. Corey Harris in the middle. 2 returns, 30.5 yards.
Come on, get one, Timmy.
We are back as Marty Schottenheimer patrols the sideline, and with 10:25 to go before halftime, Lynn Elliott will kick it off, coming off a 46-yard field goal, which has extended the Kansas City lead to 10-3. Corey Harris waits in the middle of the field. James McKnight, number 82, lets the kickoff go, and it goes through the end zone. So we will have a touchback. Good job there by Elliott. Bob, did you know that Joey Lawrence is coming to NBC Sundays in 2 weeks, starring in a hot new comedy series with his two real-life brothers? The show's called Brotherly Love.
Aww.
Look for Brotherly Love Sunday nights following the NFL on NBC in 2 weeks. And if the show's a big hit, Bob, you and your brother Mike are going to have a series of your own as well, to be called
Do you know somebody?
Big Brotherly Love.
Can you talk to somebody for me?
I can talk to
I
anybody.
don't know how I didn't get cast for
Talking
that
to
show.
a lot of people for you right now. Don't know that it'll do you any good. First down at the 10-yard line. Warren and Broussard both in the football game now, as the Seahawks show a new wrinkle out of a 4-wide spread formation. And the give is to Chris Warren. Warren has a gain of about 3, and that was an interesting new look for the Kansas City Chiefs defense to think about.
Exactly. They line it up, and I think that's one of the things that the Seahawks what they want to do. They just want to go out there and say, we're coming up the middle, stop us. What they're trying to do, they're using some deception. They're using a little bit of different formations to try and mix it up, to give the illusion that they may be doing something else.
3 corners on the field now for Kansas City, including Dale Carter. Carter goes to the top of the screen to take on Joey Galloway. Meyer throws immediately to Galloway, and Galloway has his second catch. Knocked out of bounds by Carter, but close to the first down, and he may have it. He's across the 30, and it will be a first down for Seattle.
Well, here we see up in the booth Gunther Cunningham, my old defense coordinator with the Raiders for a year. He left there, came here to Kansas City.
Pretty intense guy.
Oh, you know what? Talk about intense. Between Marty Schottenheimer, Gunther Cunningham, there's a lot of tears and excitement in that locker room.
Now 2 tight ends come onto the field for Seattle. Junkin and Christian Fourier. And out of that formation they run with Warren and get a pickup of about 4 before Neil Smith makes the stop for Kansas City.
Well, when they run to the left side of the line and Neil Smith comes from the other side and makes a play, you gotta realize that it wasn't just Neil Smith making the play. They did a great job. You see the bottom of the screen here, a real good job of holding up the line and making him cut back so Neil could come from the backside and make the hit.
Number 3 on the play, second down 7. Seattle again in the 4-wide receiver formation. And again, looking to the right side. This time Meyer tries to throw it underneath for Brian Blades. James hasty on the coverage, and Blades couldn't quite hang on. So Blades and Galloway running a little cross over there to try to get Blades free underneath.
Well, Blades is the guy who's been so much, so consistent for him. He's had tremendous numbers over the last couple of years, number of receptions, but I think they're trying to take a little bit of the heat off him with Joey Galloway, the young guy who's got tremendous speed.
Now Kroll comes onto the field, replacing Broussard, and they line up in a 3-wide receiver set with a tight end. And on third down, Meyer throws again. This time looking for Kroll, and Mark Collins is there with superb coverage to shut it down for the Chiefs.
Well, I'll tell you what, I scanned that secondary. I don't think there was a receiver that had an inch of breathing room. Those receivers couldn't take a deep breath out there. They were covered so closely, and incredible job. They talk about Dale Carter. He's just a great ball player, but they've got a lot of nice people in that secondary.
So Mark Vanover deep to receive. Rick Tootin ready to kick it away for Seattle. Tootin, the Pro Bowl punter a year ago for the AFC. Good kick on his first effort. And another high, long one here. Vanover at his 23. Coverage just a tiny bit late, and Vanover gets 9 yards across the 30 to the 32. Tyrone Stowe is downfield to make the stop for the Seahawks. They trail 10-3. It'll be Kansas City ball when we come back. Back live at Kingdome, Kansas City begins possession with 8:34 to go before halftime. Football at the 32-yard line, Chiefs leading 10-3. Steve Bono throws complete to Willie Davis, and Davis has a gain of about 8. It'll be second down 2. Winston Moss made the stop as you get a good look at Cortez Kennedy, one of the 3 key Seahawks who a week ago were fined $1,000 each by head coach Dennis Erickson for eating hot dogs on the sideline after they had exited from the field of play in the preseason game against San Francisco. How about them dogs, Bob?
How about them dogs?
Second down 2. Comments on the hot dog situation in a moment. Bono with all the time in the world throws across the middle, complete to Lake Dawson. Dawson's first catch of the game is near the 50 for a first down. Terry Wooden made the stop for Seattle.
Well, Lake Dawson, what an incredible man off the field, but look at him on the field, just getting in there, setting up, trying to find open space, laying out. Look at the extension, the concentration taken in. That's what they pay the guys for, but still, when they do a beautiful job like that, you got to take pause.
This guy, Lake Dawson, will tell you later about what he has done today. Give on first down is to Greg Hill, and Hill, after a difficult preseason, starting to get it going for the Chiefs. This time a gain of 5 before Terry Wooden made the stop. It'll be 2nd down 5. Quickly, Bob, the hot dog
Let's
thing.
get back to that hot dog thing. You know, you got some veteran players, some guys who are out there. They were done. It was preseason. They were done. Why are you fining some guy for eating a hot dog? They weren't leading the young guys into some bad habits. I mean, it's not like it's going to happen every week, but I think Erickson might have overreacted just a tad. But hey, he's got to take control.
Bono's pass incomplete, intended for Dawson. Excellent coverage that time by Carlton Gray. I'll play devil's advocate. You're a brand new coach in a team with a losing atmosphere and a losing mentality. You want to make certain that your players understand that this is a different world and things are not going to be the way they have before. You want to instill discipline and enthusiasm on the team. And you've got a chance to go after the 3 guys who may be the most visible symbols of what your team needs.
But you also don't want to look like some college guy that's spanking these old veterans on the wrist for something that may not be that big a deal.
On 3rd down 5, the Seahawks jump offside, and we'll check to see what Howard Rowe's officiating crew has to tell us about who drew whom.
The fact about that was Steve Young was the one that bought those hot dogs. That's the interesting part of that whole situation.
And we're told by Cortez Kennedy that Young anteed up $1,000, and so did John Madden.
Who kind of
Encroachment, number 98 defense, contact prior to the snap, 5-yard penalty. Result is a first down.
Sam Adams.
Well, these guys are keyed up, and I'd say that's a little bit reminds me of the old Howie Long days. There's no shyness about jumping offside. You figure if you're going to do it, you're going to do it.
Howie's still jumping offside. So all in all, with Madden and Young adding $1,000 each to the $3,000 anteed up by Kennedy, Meyer, and Eugene Robinson, all in all, it was $5,000 that went to Seattle charity as a result of the hot dog. On first down, Bono looks deep, trying to get Davis again, and this time Davis goes up and makes a play in front of Robert Blackman and has another Kansas City touchdown.
You got to put that one strictly on Willie Davis. He was running down the field stride for stride with Robert Blackman.
Well, is it Blackman 25 or Gray 26? I want to see again to be certain. Spotter's telling me it was Gray 26.
Okay.
I thought I saw Blackman's 25 there when they stood together, but we'll take a look.
He'll be over on the left side of the screen. As Bono just said, steps back and just lofts that up. But you're going to see Gray, right? You're right.
It's Gray.
It's Gray running in front of Willie Davis, but Davis with great body control. I mean, that was it, being able to stop, get his body up, and make that catch.
And Lynn Elliott nails the extra point to extend the Kansas City lead to 17-3. 6:40 to go before halftime. 2 long TD passes, Bono to Davis. As we bring you back to the Kingdom, you look at Willie Davis, who caught a 60-yard touchdown pass from Steve Bono in the first quarter. And just moments ago, a 40-yard touchdown pass, making a big catch over the top of cornerback Carlton Gray. Lynn Elliott kicks it away from the Chiefs. Taking it at the goal line is Corey Harris. And it may not have been such a great decision, although Harris gets back across the 20 to the 22-yard line before Tim Watson makes the stop. Another look.
No, Carlton Gray in man-to-man coverage. You're going to see here to the left side of your screen, Ron Willie Davis actually had the lead. I mean, had him covered beautifully. And look at that, right next to him, Willie Davis, the body control of being able to plant and get up in the air like that, get the hands up. Just a great job on his part. Carlton Gray on the sideline being consoled by the coaches. I doubt very much that they're giving him much criticism. I just think they're just telling him, you know what, focus, get back in there. You did a great job, keep playing it that way.
3 wide for Seattle on first down, and the pass is complete down the middle of the rookie tight end, Christian Fourier. Fourier, second-round draft choice out of Colorado, is expected to add some punch from the tight end position. William White made the stop for Kansas City.
Well, the one thing that Dennis Erickson said about Fourier is he has great football savvy. You see him on the right side of the screen, stepping under at the top of your screen now, just finding a spot between the secondary and the linebackers. Great awareness, ability to get away from the defender on the line. He has that savvy.
Gain of 18. It's first down from the 41-yard line. Meyer wants to throw again. Pulls it down. Uses his athletic talent. Gets the football to Warren, who'll go out of bounds after a gain of about 2. James Hasty taking Warren out. Going back for a moment to the Fourier play, you know, you can tell a tight end who thinks like a receiver, Bob. You could see him as he left the line of scrimmage thinking of giving Meyer a target, turning the body so that Meyer could see the numbers and have a target. Not all tight ends think that way.
You're exactly right. I mean, they know that a lot of times they're kind of secondary. There'll be a guy they're going to drop to, but he knew that he was going to find that spot between the linebackers and the deep men, had his body turned, and Meyer knew right away that he was going to be the guy that he could dump that ball to.
Pick up the 4 on the scramble pass to Warren. It's second down 6. Near the 45-yard line. Again is to Broussard, and Broussard, knowing some quickness from the tailback spot, has a first down before Carter and Washington make the stop for the Chiefs.
Well, Broussard has really become a big factor in this game. He has just come out of the box running well. A hole opened up beautifully for him that time, and you really got to question what's happening with the Kansas City front. They've made some adjustments on defense. They've become more attack-oriented, as a lot of teams have been, but still a lot of these holes are opening up, and that's not what Marty Schottenheimer and Gunther Cunningham are looking for.
First down near the 45 after the gain of 10 by Broussard. Meyer with the quick flip. Looking to get it to number 89, Brian Blades. Blades holds up his hands and says, how about a flag on Hasty? And the officials oblige.
They say, okay.
And Blades gives you the visible evidence there. Says, I'm not going to put this pad back in until they mark it off, right?
Until somebody makes a decision.
Okay, now, Joey, now you can put the pad in for me.
Holding. Number 40 on a defense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Well, we're going to see Hasty at the left side of your screen. He's going to come in late, and just you can see there, he's just a little bit tight. Ball thrown a little bit behind him, but still, that's a little bit too obvious for the referees to make any kind of judgment other than that.
So it's first down from the 40. And Broussard is this time stopped, and Matt Joyce gets up and wants to go at it with number 94, Keith Traylor. Traylor's a big target. I'm not sure I'd pick on him.
Well, we talking to Gunther Cunningham, the defensive coordinator, last night. And Marty also agreed that Traylor is the guy that we really have to watch, because you don't see many big square guys like that anymore who can just get in there. He said he's quick, he's powerful, and with his new defense, he fits in perfectly.
2 axe handles wide. They love him against the running game. Blitz. Meyer for the moment gets away and then is pulled down by William White, who is coming from his free safety position.
Well, you know, they've got James Atkins working over new at the left tackle for the Seattle Seahawks. He's been really doing a pretty good job all day with Derek Thomas on that side. But, you know, when you start bringing too many people, you got to have somebody come over and help out. You know, they're going to bring in a safety or a cornerback. You see Atkins pushing Derek Thomas out, but Williams wide open, and you know what? They plan it that way. Hey, they say, Derek, clear it out. Give Williams a shot in there.
Third down 17. Football at 27. And this time Atkins, a little too conscious of his pass block responsibility against Vaughn Booker, number 99.
Well, you know, and it wasn't so much against Booker, but against Derek Thomas. We asked him if
the snap. We got a false start on number 74 offense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat third down.
We asked him what the big adjustment was for him. He goes, you know what? He goes, I get these great rushers there, and he goes, what I have to focus on is I have to move when the ball is snapped. He goes, I've got to be the guy who starts the play. He goes, I can't sit there and look at Derek Thomas or Vaughn Booker and go, I'm intimidated, I'm nervous about this, I'm going to wait for them to move. He goes, I've got to be the first one to move. I've got to take control of this matchup.
Third down, 22. Another blitz, and Meyer is busted by Thomas and Phillips. Back close to his own 40, and Derek Thomas begins the chop.
Well, we shouldn't have brought James Atkins' name up, but you're going to see Derek Thomas come here on the outside and just watch him just dip the shoulder down, not give James Atkins any kind of a surface to get a block on. And that's one of the things that Atkins said about Thomas. He goes, he doesn't give you anything to block. He'll dip that shoulder, he'll take it away from you. He goes, you have nothing to grab onto.
Tootin's third run of the game. Vanover waits at his 20-yard line. This one is a low kick. And Vanover will have some room as he takes it at the 18, gets back to the 25. Excellent special teams tackle. As you look at Derek Thomas celebrating on the sideline, Max Strong made the stop for the Seahawks, and we'll be back.
And one more time, Derek Thomas against James Atkins. Now watch here, watch him just dip the shoulder, doesn't give James Atkins any kind of a surface to get onto. And the bad thing about that is James knew exactly James Atkins knew that is what he did. That was the tool that he used, his quickness upfield, take away the blocking surface, and even when you know it's coming, you can't stop it sometimes.
On first down, the Chiefs give it to Greg Hill, and Hill slides forward for a couple of yards. Terry Wooden made the stop for Seattle. Very quickly, Bob, some NFL breaking news. The league has ruled that there's no evidence of a salary cap violation by the Dolphins with regard to Dan Marino's stock purchase. Very good news for Wayne Huizenga and Dan Marino. Oakland Raiders lawyer Joseph Alioto said the NFL's lawsuit against the Raiders was a, quote, sneak attack, and they will, quote, fight back. And the video company Sega is pressuring Deion Sanders to sign with some team because they need to know what uniform he'll wear before their Christmas marketing campaign.
My, how times have changed.
Hill has a first down run across the 35 to the 37, and that brings us to the 2-minute warning. The Chiefs lead 17-3. We'll be back. Bring it back to the most visible symbol of Seattle Seahawk football over the course of the past 5 years. Cortez Kennedy. One of the 2 or 3 best defensive tackles in the National Football League. On first down, Kansas City leading 17-3. Steve Bono throws to a heavily covered number 89 tight end Pete Cash. Tyrone Stowe was draped all over Cash.
Marty is ranting up and down. He's chasing down all the referees, trying to go, what were you looking at? Because Stowe was all over the back of him.
That was big-time interference, or holding, whichever you want to call. But no flag there. Incomplete pass. Second down, 10. Chiefs have scored on their last 3 possessions. A punt by Louis Aguiar on the first. Throws over the top of Kimball Anders, and it's going to be 3rd and 10 for Kansas City. Stowe was again there on the coverage.
Well, we're going to put that one on Vaughn Booker more than anybody else because it was a timing between him and Anders, between Bono and Anders, and Vaughn Booker got up into Bono's face pretty quick, forced him just to dump that ball off before Anders was able to actually look and make the catch.
Seattle looking for a pass rush specialist. Now in the dime on 3rd down 10. Bono throwing underneath, and immediately brought down is Willie Davis. Nickelback Tony Brown, 4th-year player out of Fresno State, with the big play to blunt that try and force the Chiefs into a punting situation. Seattle will have plenty of time with which to work before halftime.
Oh, that's their West Coast offense. That's the version of the West Coast offense. The short stuff, dragging the guys over the middle, the short passes to the outside, kind of lulling people to sleep, then throwing some deep stuff. But Willie Davis is like the only guy that actually has the speed that can stretch a defense now. Other than that, they've got to fill up receivers who are bigger and stronger and can take the hits across the middle.
Seahawks call a timeout to stop the clock with 1:43 left before halftime. Gives us a chance to tell you that next Sunday, NBC Sports presents an exciting NFL doubleheader beginning at 12:30 p.m. Eastern with the NFL on NBC. Featured on our doubleheader lineup, most of you will see Emmitt Smith, Troy Aikman, and the Cowboys take on Denver's John Elway and his cast of receivers. In our early games, most of you will see the team picked by many as Super Bowl contenders, the Raiders as they visit the Redskins. Some of you will see the Dolphins against the Patriots or the Steelers against the Oilers. And then in game 2, most of you will see Denver, Dallas, while some of you will see the Chargers and the Seahawks. Louis Aguiar kicks it away for the Chiefs. Joey Galloway waits, and Galloway's got a chance to run one back and almost had a hole. Gets it across the 20 to about the 23-yard line. Meyer and company will start from there. Anthony Davis downfield to make the stop for the Chiefs. Coming up on the Domino's NFL on NBC halftime report, Greg Gumbel, Mike Ditka, Joe Gibbs, Joe Montana, scores and highlights. Fascinating day so far in the NFL. There have been a couple of near astonishing upsets, Bob Golick. So you got to stick around and watch to see what Greg and the guys tell us about at halftime.
With bated breath.
No hot dogs. On first down from the 23. Meyer with 3 wide receivers to the left. Comes down the middle to Galloway, and what a grab. Across the 40 to the 42, Dale Carter, a great coverage man, is there with him, but number 84 with a big individual play.
Beautiful. Again, Meyer just sitting back there, taking the time. He's got time to set up, to look for his receivers, kind of bruising the whole left side of the field. Nice completion.
18-yard gain, clock runs. Meyer throws underneath the blades, pickup of about 7. Hasty makes the stop. And clock continues to go.
This is where that quick rhythm really is paying off for them. Not so much because it's no huddle, but you know they've worked that into their normal offense. So when it comes to a time where they have to go no huddle, it really helps them to keep the rhythm, to have all the guys in the right place at the right time, and you can see how it's working out very well for Rick Meyer and his receivers.
And you can already see, despite the fact that they trail 17-3, how much livelier the Seahawks are going to be on offense with Joey Galloway. You know what an accomplishment it would have been for this team in the last couple of years to routinely knock off an 18-yard completion to a wideout. That's something they couldn't do.
Right, that's something they would have celebrated tonight. But even though they've only got 3 points on the board, they really have shown that they have come a long way in the development of this offense. Not only with Rick Meyer coming off a year with less completions and less success than he would have liked, but this addition of Joey Galloway, you know, rarely do you see a rookie. Every once in a while it comes in and really makes a big impact. Hopefully people have a chance to see Seattle and see how good Joey Galloway can be.
Meyer in this first half, 14 of 19 for 142 yards. As usual, no interceptions. He had only 9 all last year. One minute to go before halftime. Second down, 4 yards to go from the Seattle 47. Meyer gets away from pressure, throws across the middle, and almost had Ricky Cole. Mark Collins with the play from his cornerback position.
Well, they're going to have to control the clock here with under a minute left. Rick Meyer, he's got the people that can make the long passes, but you know, he's really got to work the clock now. Now watch here, they got Chris Warren coming over and helping Atkins on Derek Thomas. I think they decided that Derek was just having a little bit too much fun over there.
Now it's third down. They run the draw. Warren hit in the backfield, but he gets away for first down yardage. Inside the 40 to the 38. Hasty made the stop for Kansas City, and timeout to stop the clock with 44 before halftime. No timeout. They let it run. A couple of Seahawks players put their hands up. The officials ignored them, and Meyer wanted to keep it going. So here they are. And now he stops the clock with a throwdown. 15-yard gain on the run for Chris Warren.
Well, it was a good thing that they stopped the clock. Mickle was coming off the ball, had his helmet ripped off in the last play. They had a couple of guys walking off the field, weren't even ready for the play. I'll tell you what, Warren did that all by himself. I was ready to question the sanity of running a draw play when you got under a minute left, when you should start working it down. They have that offense where they can move the ball down the field with that quick rhythm. You know, why go there when you don't have the time to really afford a run.
Meanwhile, Howard Rowe and company have a flag situation to sort out here. After Meyer stopped the clock by throwing the football down to the artificial turf. Down markers have not yet changed to second down. Seahawks have gotten the boost from Galloway. Interesting use of the running backs. Broussard, free agent from Cincinnati, becoming a big figure here, playing for his old college coach, Dennis Erickson, who had him at Washington State. Schottenheimer making his presence felt as Erickson, coaching his first official NFL game, watches and waits. Here's Howard
We've got
Rowe.
a correction on the play. We had a timeout called before we had too many men on the field. Timeout was called prior to timeout Kansas City. 40-second timeout. That's our first charge timeout.
Well, as I said, Darren Mickle was being helped off the field. He had his helmet ripped off, and I guess he had some guys trying to get him off. He wasn't getting off fast enough when his replacement was on the field, and luckily they were able to get the time called. You don't want to, at this point for the Kansas City Chiefs, you don't want to give them even 5 yards to move them closer to a score.
Now Dennis Erickson wants time back on the clock, and I would say 10 seconds.
I think he's got a good point.
It seemed to me it was between 44 and 42 at the time when I thought that a timeout had been called on the field. Right now you can see that it's at 32. Well, let's take another look.
Clock operator, would you please show the clock reading 36 seconds? 36 seconds.
Well, you see right in the center of the screen, Mickle trying to get helped off the field. His replacement has already come up and set himself in the center of the line. Too many people definitely. Mickle didn't know if he should go off. His replacement was on, probably got his belt dinged a little bit, but they had to call a timeout. They had to waste it there.
Good to see a Chiefs player holding up a timeout sign. Nevertheless, they get 4 extra seconds. Meyer tries to hit Galloway and throws it behind him. Crowd wanted a flag and didn't get it. Hasty and Carter were there to cover Galloway. Dale Carter working against the rookie.
Well, we're talking about some great coverage today, but a bump to Chuck there to 5 yards. But look at the hands, kind of all over. It's a little bit incidental. The call can go either way with some of these referees. You don't know how they're going to call it, but some of that infighting is acceptable.
Well, what has the crowd going, of course, is that Carter never played the ball, only played the man. And you're in a very dangerous situation when you do that. So Galloway's got him back on their heels a little bit. 2nd down 10. Myers' pass is batted down here by Neil Smith. And another flag is down.
Now, with a lot of things going on in a drive, the defensive linemen start to get a little worn out. Who are they calling that on?
Pass interference. Number 85 offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
Against the rookie tight end Christian Fourier, and that's a very tough call when the ball only travels about 5 yards in the air.
Yeah, I mean, the ball is knocked down at the line of scrimmage by Neil Smith. It's very difficult to see how they can call Fourier unless he grabs somebody and pulled him down. We see him at the bottom of the screen. Coming up against Jamison, it pushes off. I guess that's what they're calling, that he pushed off to try and separate himself from the defender. But, you know, when the ball's slapped down to the line of scrimmage, it's not catchable. It doesn't seem like it's kind of a picky call.
2nd down 20. Meyer throwing this time to Blades and a little bit overthrown at the sideline. Hasty was there to cover Blades.
Well, I'll tell you what, we talked before about Atkins. The last play they brought Chris Warren to help him out. But watch Derek Thomas here. The player he splits the two of them. The two guys can't even keep him from getting to Rick Meyer. That is the type of player that Derek Thomas is. The guy's incredible.
And once again, Chris Warren was being detailed for extra blocking help on Thomas. When you forced a team to use Chris Warren as a blocker, you've taken away an element of their offense.
That's one of the things that really can open up the team to bigger plays from other people.
Meyer wants Blades, and it's picked off by Hasty. Washington got the first piece of it. Now here comes Hasty. Back across the 40. And chasing him from behind and pulling him down is number 88, Ricky Prohl. So Prohl makes the saving tackle as Hasty gets it across the 50 to the 48. The crowd doesn't like the whole sequence.
Well, I know it's not always easy, but what they tell you as a receiver is if you're gonna tip the ball, try and tip it down. You're gonna see in the upper left-hand corner here, Blades just tipped the ball up off of Washington right into Hasty's hands. And normally it's the intended receiver is making the tackle, but Blades probably just didn't look like he had a clue where the ball ended up.
A rare pickoff against Rick Meyer. He had 7 all last year, threw no interceptions in the preseason. In 4 previous games against the Chiefs, he's only thrown 2. So when you get an interception against Rick Meyer, you can almost bet it's going to be on a batted ball.
He threw the ball a little bit behind Blades, too, which made it difficult for him to get up. Blades is his best to get it, but was only, like I said, able to tip it up to Williams.
9 seconds on the clock as Bono begins this play, and a nice job of tightrope walking on the sideline by veteran Webster Slaughter. Tony Brown knocked him out, but that gets the Chiefs to the 31, where they could, if they wish, try a 48-yard Lynn Elliott field goal, and here he comes.
Well, this is, you've got to take the points we can get it. 4 seconds left on the field, and it really has been an interesting first half. Neither one of these teams has shown a whole lot, but the Chiefs scoring a tremendous amount of points compared to the Seahawks.
17-yard Bono to Slaughter pass, a very big play. Slaughter getting out of bounds to stop the clock, making it possible for this 49-yard Elliott field goal, which on the last play of the first half stretches the Kansas City lead over Seattle to 20-3. So the Chiefs lead the Seahawks 20-3. We'll be back after this message from the National Football League and words from your local station. And instead of that, let's not go to our local stations. Let's go to Greg Gumbel and the NFL on NBC studio in New York.
In Seattle, the Kansas City Chiefs, led by Steve Bono, they lead at halftime by a score of 20-3. You said Steve Bono can do the job for Kansas City. He has so far today.
I think it's very evident. He's got 2 touchdown passes, no interceptions. That's what it's all about. I'm just glad to see that they got somebody in there that can reach Willie Davis, because I couldn't.
Bono, 10-14, 177, and 2 touchdowns.
It's NBC on 41 in Kansas City.
Back live in the Kingdome, Jim Lampley along with Bob Golick as you look at the halftime stats that show Kansas City and Seattle equal in first downs and not too different in total yards, but there's a big difference on the scoreboard. These Coors Light halftime stats don't necessarily reflect the 20-3 score by which Kansas City leads over Seattle. And Tamarick Vanover takes Todd Peterson's kick, gets it across the 20, across the 30, and Vanover's got a lot of room. And he gets past Peterson and will go all the way. Tamarick Vanover, first-year player from Florida State, left Florida State early, was seen by some to have made a big mistake. Now he's finally in the NFL and he makes his presence felt.
What a way to start the first half. That's something that's you really don't know. You train for it, you practice these returns, but there's so many people out there running so many different directions. You never know when you're going to be able to find that spot and shoot through it. This is a big nail in the coffin for the Seattle Seahawks. These guys have just, they've worked so hard, and this is going to be a hard thing to come back from. Dennis Erickson will get the guys going, and they'll really be able to come back and do what they did in the first half, moving the ball. But, they keep adding points like this, Kansas City does, man. They got problems.
Lynn Elliott adds the extra point. Vanover celebrates a long touchdown kickoff return. I'm going to call it 98. Haven't got the official yet from the press box. No, it's going to be 99 yards for Vanover on this kickoff return.
And really good moves there. I mean, great awareness of where people are coming from. One last kicker to scoot by, and you're on your way. But then, it wasn't like there's this giant hole that he was able to go through. He really had great awareness on where some of the defenders were coming from, was able to avoid contact and squirt up through the middle.
And if you're kicker Todd Peterson, you hate to see that happen. You had only 2 games in Arizona last year. You were excoriated by Buddy Ryan, who's not crazy about specialists. You come here, Dennis Erickson says he'll kick the ball into the end zone for me. You get it all the way down to the 1, and then Tamarick Vanover brings it all the way back. And Erickson has seen that before. Vanover had some big plays for Florida State against Erickson's Miami Hurricanes in years past.
No, you can't blame it on Stevenson. It wasn't his job. Obviously, he had a shot at making the tackle, but how many kickers are you going to put money on to make the big tackle? The game's on the line there.
So, Todd, you can be safe and at peace because Bob Golick has exonerated you for the missed tackle. 99-yard touchdown return by hammer at Vanover is the second longest in Kansas City Chiefs history. And at the opposite end of the field, Corey Harris isn't able to get back to the 20 as Doug Terry makes a terrific downfield tackle for the Chiefs. So it's 27-3 Chiefs now as the second half begins next Sunday. Join NBC Sports for the NFL on NBC at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Host Greg Gumbel will be joined by our team of Super Bowl winning coaches Mike Ditka and Joe Gibbs and co-host Ahmad Rashad. Miami Dolphins receiver Irving Fryer will chat with Ahmad on how his life has taken a turn for the better in recent years. It's all next Sunday starting at 12:30 p.m. Eastern with the NFL on NBC. Seattle's first possession of the second half begins at the 19-yard line. Meyer throws looking to hit Galloway, and Carter was there on the coverage for Kansas City. At halftime here, Jacob Green, former Seahawk great, was honored as he became the 5th player to have his name on the Seattle Seahawks Ring of Honor around the perimeter of the stadium, joining Kurt Warner, Jim Zorn, Steve Largent, and Dave Brown. Number 79, Jacob Green.
Said that he picked that number because he liked the way I played. Nah, I'm just kidding.
He did like the way you play, though. He had his own reasons for wearing 79. On second down, Warren with the football, and Warren is near the 25 before Derek Thomas ran him out of bounds. Meyer and company will face third down.
Now watch Brian Blades here come in from the outside, from the bottom left-hand corner on Neil Smith. What a block to clear the way for the pulling lineman to open it up for Chris Carter. But, you know, Blades coming out there and just leveling Neil Smith. What a stud.
Tough player at Miami. Gutty player here, Brian Blades. On third down, Meyer throws to Blades, and Blades makes one of his trademark tough catches, working against James Hasty to give the Seahawks a first down across the 30 to the 32-yard line. Extraordinarily difficult year for Brian Blades as he tries to concentrate while waiting to see if he will be indicted for manslaughter in South Florida after the recent shooting death of his cousin.
And it really is a testament to him to come off of something that emotional, something that you've got to carry with you every day, and to come out here and be able to focus and play with the intensity and the concentration that he plays with.
Warren breaks through for a gain of about 6 on first down. Brian Washington makes the stop for the Chiefs. And it is, of course, a myriad of difficulties which attend this Seahawk team. Chris Warren, of course, was part of the ill-fated automobile accident a year ago. Dennis Erickson arrived and shortly after went through a DUI, or a DWI arrest, as they call it up here. Warren arrested for an assault charge brought by a woman who says that he hit her outside a bar. Neil Smith makes the stop on Warren here. Of course, former teammate Mike Fryer remains paralyzed as a result of that automobile accident a year ago. Lamar Smith waits to see if he will be charged with vehicular manslaughter. It's really an amazing sea of troubles.
It sure is. And for a team that has fought so hard to get some recognition, to get some semblance of credibility in the league, where they can come out and be really competitive every week, to have this happen in the offseason really kind of detracts from their concentration.
On first down, after the 2 Warren runs got the chains moved, Galloway is the intended receiver downfield. William White leaping across to break it up, number 35. Crowd wanted the flag on White, but it doesn't drop.
He sure did. I mean, White was close. He was tight on him. You'll see White moving up right up from the safety position, coming over the top of Joey Galloway. Oh, okay. And as you can hear from the response in the stands, that they also showed that replay on the big screen. White really making contact with the back of Joey Galloway, coming over the top. Rough call there by the referees.
Rob Thomas, number 86, now on the field, replacing Brian Blades at wide receiver for the Seahawks. Plays ago, and now Meyer, under pressure, is brought down by Sally Amua. Derek Thomas was there as well.
Well, we've been looking at Derek Thomas rushing from the outside and what they've done to stop him, but this time we're seeing the rush up the middle. Dan Saliamua making some moves, short, got powerful inside, breaking through the line. Him, Derek Thomas, doing what he likes to do best. So we're seeing more than just Derek making the rush now. They're really becoming more aggressive up front on that Kansas City line.
Third sack for the Chiefs. Third down 18 now from the 34-yard line for Meyer and the Seahawks. The throw is over Ricky Prohl with Mark Collins there on the coverage, and Meyer, after that third and last sack, didn't plant his feet and throw with confidence to Prohl.
It really seems that we've seen after the run back that they've lost some of that edge that we saw in the first half. It's going to be up to Dennis Erickson to get these guys in the sidelines, sit them down and say, listen, we came out. We matched these guys play for play, yard for yard in the first half. We just got to do the same thing in the second half. Concentrate. The points will come later.
Duke with a Pro Bowl quality punt. Gets it back to the 11-yard line. Here's Vanover again, and this time he's dumped at about the 23 after a 12-yard return. So Dennis Erickson suffering through what has so far been a difficult opening day as coach of the Seattle Seahawks. It's been a game of big plays for the Kansas City Chiefs in the Kingdom. As the give is to Kimball Anders on first down. Now with the margin here exceeding 18 points, we're going to take several of you to Oakland to pick up the game between the defending AFC champions, the San Diego Chargers, and the newly relocated Oakland Raiders. Dan Hicks and Randy Cross calling the game in Oakland, and with Kansas City leading here by more than 18 points at 27-3. Many of you will be going to Oakland after this play. Bono throws complete to Lake Dawson. Second catch of the game for Dawson near the 30-yard line. Corey Harris there on the coverage for the Seahawks, and now many of you will be exiting the Kingdome, where it's 27-3 Chiefs, to go to the Oakland Coliseum. Jim Lampley along with Bob Golick still with you in the Kingdome, where with 10.5 minutes to go in the third quarter, Kansas City Chiefs have extended a 20-3 halftime lead to 27-3 on the strength of the 99-yard second half kickoff return by Tamarick Vanover. On third down here, Bono throws complete to Keith Cash. Robert Blackman with the tackle, but Cash with the leaping catch secures another Kansas City first down.
Well, that's the thing that Marty likes about Keith Cash, is that he has a lot of speed for a tight end. He has the ability to get up, get vertical, get to those spots that a lot of normal tight ends that aren't as quick and get to. There you see great athletic ability, like the other receivers, getting up and making a nice catch.
Steve Bono, 12 of 16, 186 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Brilliant day so far for Bono. Marcus Allen carries the ball on first down, has gain of a couple, and the entire front of the Seattle defensive line was there to help with the stop. We mentioned that Bono was the highest rated NFL quarterback in the preseason. If these statistics hold for the rest of the game, he just might be the highest rated in regular season after 1 week.
Right, and but we're talking about him and adjusting to this system. He has been probably the quarterback with the most experience coming from San Francisco with that West Coast offense, which everybody seems to, as a buzzword, wants to use now.
Outside of Steve Young, he's got as much experience running the offense as anyone else in the league. Dawson in motion to the top of the screen on second down. Flags down. Bono fakes long and kind of tosses it to an open area over the middle. Sam Adams might have gotten across the line too quickly one more time. Would be the second encroachment call against Adams, number 98, if in fact that's the way it goes.
Defense, offsides, number 98, 5-yard penalty, repeat second down.
Well, you see Sam Adams here jumping, just getting a little anxious. I think he saw his buddy realigning next to him. But as a quarterback, when you're faced with a situation like that, you got to know that it's a throwaway play. A lot of those defensive guys, when they jump, they just give up the play, which they're coached not to, but they will stop, which a lot of times gives the offense an opportunity to find some opening.
Bono gives to Kimball Anders. Anders is dropped for a loss here as an angry Sam Adams comes across, along with Tyrone Stowe.
Well, you know, we talked about this new defense of theirs, the attack-style defense. This is a defense that we have determined that has gone back 10 years to Jimmy Johnson at the University of Miami. And then he, you know, when he moved on to Dallas, worked with Dave Wanstead. And so now the two teams that initially started working the attack-style defense were the Bears, when Wanstead went there, and Jimmy Johnson in Dallas. But when you have success, you have emulators.
It's in vogue around the league right now. Full blitz. Lots of room for Willie Davis to get downfield. Bono gets the football to him. Davis has his third long catch of the day working against Carlton Gray. In the first half, he caught a 60-yard touchdown pass and a 40-yard touchdown pass, and now this one for 29.
Well, you got to feel for Carlton Gray. Willie Davis, you know, he's the one guy who can really stretch this defense. Just walking away from Carlton Gray, who running stride for stride, but when you're running stride for stride, 3 strides back, it doesn't do you any good. You know, there was they matched up on the touchdown pass earlier in the game where Davis was able to 2 of them where Davis was able to make the great athletic catch, but Carlton Gray really being put in some tough situations.
Willie Davis, 5 catches for 142 yards in the game. 2 TDs, a 60, a 40, and a 29.
A little bit too much time for the Kansas City offense.
Delay of game offense, 5-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Got to be a very happy Marty Schottenheimer with the way things have gone. His team making the big plays to capitalize on its opportunities. Seattle moving the football, but not making big plays to capitalize.
You know, when that happens, it's one thing to sit there the next day and look at your statistics and go, boy, we matched them yard for yard. But if you're on the losing end, who cares? The coaches certainly don't.
Yeah, that's not what they're saying to you when they run the film. Bono throws, complete to Davis. Davis's 6th catch of the day, takes it down near the 15-yard line. This time he works against Corey Harris, number 30.
And this is part of the West Coast offense in the respect that it's a quick game. You know, they will use the deep stuff, the stuff that they will throw to Davis, but most of it will be set up by the short things in the flat, the crosses across the middle. And as I stated before, you really can't you lose guys like Burden and some of those smaller guys, the fast guys, when you need these bigger, stronger, more physical guys to cross the middle.
Bono near the goal line, trying to get it to Keith Cash. Good play by Robert Blackman.
Very good position.
And slow to get up, I believe, is number 93, Brent Williams.
This is not a good sign for the Seahawks, who lost Antonio Edwards earlier in the game.
10th-year defensive end out of Toledo. Arrived here as a free agent from the New England Patriots last year and then wrote a book on how to move from one city to another. We'll be back. As we bring you back to the Kingdome, Chiefs trainers working on strong safety Brian Washington. We're told he has a shoulder stinger. Ouch. Might not be back. Football at the 16-yard line. 3rd down, 2 yards to go for the Chiefs. 6:26 to go in the 3rd. Bono throws complete to Lake Dawson, and Dawson has a touchdown. Local boy makes good. 16-yard TD pass. 3rd of the game for Bono. This time goes to Lake Dawson of nearby Federal Way, Washington.
Well, watch the defenders here over to the right side of your screen. Dawson just gets himself between the linebacker, I believe the corner, the outside backer, and they just got their feet set. I mean, they weren't ready to move. They were just set and waiting. There's no way they could make a break on that ball. Dawson had all the room and athletically makes his way into the end zone.
And while 50,000 Seahawks fans in the Kingdome don't celebrate, 10 homeless children do. 10 homeless children brought to the game today, courtesy of Lake Dawson's 5 Loaves, 2 Fishes Foundation, brought here by the City Union Gospel Mission to watch him play.
Well, Jim was telling you about Lake Dawson and the 5 Loaves and 2 Fishes Foundation and his 10 kids that he brought in, the homeless children, as he points to them up in the stands after his touchdown. And they have their own little celebration up there. You know, Lamps also in Kansas City, he is also supplies for 1,000 children school supplies. You know, he takes care of all the expenses himself.
For books and notebooks and
notebooks, pencils,
like that,
the whole
go back to school this fall with the same things their classmates have.
That's right.
Terrific guy. Can't say enough about Lake Dawson. Meanwhile, Lynn Elliott kicks it away for the Chiefs. And Corey Harris brings it back for the Seahawks. And Harris is going to be belted down at the 25-yard line. It takes about 3 guys to do all the belting necessary to get him down. Finally, Harris is out of bounds, courtesy of Darren Anderson, a reserve cornerback. 6:06 to go in the third. We'll be back. A huge day in the Kingdom for Steve Bono. He equals his career high with 3 touchdown passes. You see the rest of the numbers there on what has been a great first day as the established starting quarterback of the Chiefs, operating their West Coast offense under the direction of offensive coordinator Paul Hackett. On first down for the Seahawks, Rick Meyer has his pass batted down by number 90 Neil Smith. It was intended for Max Strong.
Well, you know, a lot of coaches would rather have you all over the quarterback, but if you can't get in, if you're getting up against somebody like Howard Ballard, you know, the best thing to do, get the hand up, keep the ball from getting to the receiver.
Ballard has had a clean day in terms of sack prevention against Neil Smith, but Smith's gotten his hands on the football a couple of times, dragged down Chris Warren from behind one time. So he's been there. Second down 10. Meyer gives to Warren. The long-legged tailback picks his way forward for a couple of yards.
Well, the
third down.
The Kansas City Chiefs also have gone away from what they call a 2-gap style defense, where a defensive lineman will lock into the offensive lineman across from him and be responsible for the gap on either side of him, depending on where the running back goes. Now they've gone to a 1-gap style. Every player has 1 gap, the spot between 2 offensive players that they're responsible for.
On third down 8 after the gain of 2 by Warren. Meyer throws to Blades, and Brian Blades breaks it out of there and gets it near midfield to the 49-yard line. James Hasty follows Blades and finally helps to usher him out of bounds, along with Doug Terry, number 24, and Mark Collins, number 25.
It's a time like this that you feel good to have a veteran like Brian Blades, who you're going to see coming from the right side of you across the screen, wide open on the short route across. Again, what the Seattle Seahawks are trying to establish, a short, quicker game with kind of an up-tempo rhythm.
The attention that's being paid to Galloway, Blades will have an opportunity to make a lot of catches this year. Warren finds a hole and goes for about 9 into Chiefs territory at the 42-yard line. Tim Watson making the stop from strong safety, where he's in the game replacing Brian Washington.
Well, you know, we talked a little bit more about the 1-gap responsibility. You're going to see it here on the snap of the ball. They're all attacking instead of sitting and reading. Right there, Neil Smith making a real strong surge into the line. The problem with that is everybody has to get their gap. If anybody misses it, there's going to be an opening, like you saw there.
After the 8-yard gain on 2nd and 2, Meyer throws incomplete, intended for Prohl. And both James Atkins and Carlester Crumpler appeared to be across the line of scrimmage.
Formation on the offense. We've got a tackle uncovered, only 6 men on the line. 5-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
So it was Atkins who appeared to be uncovered, and Crumpler, who was not on the line of scrimmage where he was supposed to be.
Well, we talked about Meyer's footwork. Now, but watch at the end of this play here as he's setting up after throwing the ball as he recovery. He must have just came down wrong on the ankle, because it seems like he twisted a little bit as he stuck the foot down into the turf.
How about a seam in the artificial turf? You think that's possible?
Well, that's Houston.
Meyer throws, complete to Galloway. Galloway's belted out of bounds by Dale Carter. Carter, an outstanding cover man, has been matched individually against Galloway for most of the game by Gunther Cunningham, the Chiefs defensive coordinator, but Joey Galloway's got 4 catches for 69 yards anyway.
And we're taking another look at Rick Meyer here. It doesn't seem to be favoring the ankle at all, and it didn't really seem like he turned it very dramatically as he set it down and the follow through after the pass. But you know, that turf can be so sticky, just you get a twinge in it once in a while, and he seemed to recover nicely.
1st and 10 from the 34. Warren doing a little dancing, and for his trouble, he gets dropped for a loss by Derek Thomas.
One of the things that Marty Schottenheimer told us about the attack defense, everybody has a gap, and he says there will be one gap left open, and that will be filled by the secondary, by somebody from the secondary. And there you see Watson coming up, making the big play, being very aggressive. But that's just it. And it's a patience. As aggressive as it seems in a name, it's a very patient defense. You get to where you're supposed to be and you wait. Do your responsibility.
Second down, 13 at the 37. Meyer under pressure, releases the blades. This time Hasty had plenty of time to make the play. Derek Thomas working against James Atkins again.
Now watch over at the right side of the screen. Just again, you're going to see him come in, dipping underneath Atkins, getting that the late shot right after the ball was thrown on Rick Meyer. Haven't really been too many shots on Meyer that have been debilitating, but this is one that he could have done without today.
Yeah. James Atkins 2 years ago was a defensive lineman at Southwest Louisiana. Still learning is the best you can say about him at left tackle. He's making a game effort today against a great player in Derek Thomas. Meyer trying to hit roll, and Mark Collins had the coverage for the Chiefs.
Gunther Cunningham had told us that part of their game plan today was to get to Meyer or to knock him to the ground. They knew that he was a guy that really, Meyer was an upcoming quarterback. He really showed a lot of promise, like Bledsoe in New England, and they wanted to get in and rattle him and not let him reestablish the kind of confidence that he had his first year.
4th and 13, and Tootin comes on to punt it away for the Seahawks, down 34-3. Vanover waits down at the 10-yard line. Tootin actually does put the foot to the ball. Mark Vanover will let it go. Tootin gets the great back bounce. And number 85, pulling on the ball for the Seahawks, is reserve tight end Christian Fourier. They pin the Chiefs deep. Picked by many as Super Bowl contenders, the Raiders, as they visit the Washington Redskins. Some of you will see the Dolphins and the Patriots, or the Steelers and the Oilers. Dolphins, Patriots. Had a lot of fun with that one last year, Bob. So did you.
What a great game.
First down, Bono throws. Complete to Derek Walker, and Walker has a gain of about 5 before he's brought down by Tyrone Stowe. Bono showing supreme confidence, throwing from inside his 10-yard line on first down.
You know, they're talking about getting these guys the pressure up front from Cortez Kennedy, Sam Adams, but Bono's just not giving them any time, and it looks like Sam Adams is limping a little bit. Now he must got caught up down in the trenches there to see how his performance continues.
Brent Williams, who was briefly out with injury, is back in the game at defensive end, number 93. Greg Hill bursts through a hole on the right side and grinds forward across the 30 to the 33-yard line. Robert Blackman makes the stop, but went for a ride on the deceptively powerful 5'11" 207-pound Greg Hill.
Well, the thing is, when you're playing an attack defense, as you flow, you have to have somebody who stays backside. There's nobody here. A wide open hole opens up, and Hill finds it. Everybody can't pursue. There has to be patience.
19-yard gain, the last 5 of them provided by Hill while in the grasp of Robert Blackman. His numbers on the day pretty good. First down, Hill trying to get outside. Finally cuts in for a couple. Corey Harris made the stop. Chiefs running game in preseason, Bob Golick, averaged only 2.7 yards per carry.
Marty told us yesterday, he said, because we haven't had any success in the running game on offense, because we really haven't had any success in the running game on defense, but other than that, we're doing really good.
But today, 19 carries, 82 yards, 4.3 yards per carry. A very respectable running game effort by the Chiefs, which has opened it up to some degree for Steve Bono, who's had a sensational day. On second down 8. Bono throws, and number 85, Webster Slaughter, all the way to midfield and across into Seattle territory at the 49-yard line. So Slaughter with a first down for the Chiefs, and incidentally, Steve Bono has passed for 3 touchdowns several times in his career, marks his career high. One of them was here in 1988 when playing for the 49ers against the Seahawks. He fired 3 touchdown passes, including that one to Jerry Rice, and that helped to key a 24-22 San Francisco victory over the Seahawks. That was the year when Bono led the playoff drive. Didn't he start and win 6 consecutive games, Bob?
That is correct. We saw Jacob Green at the end of that little clip there.
Number 79 to Bob Golick. Number 49 here is Tony Richardson. And the reserve fullback trying to get outside is wrapped by Terry Wooden after a gain of about 2 or 3. Third quarter coming to a close. Seahawks have not been able to score in this quarter.
Richardson came off the Dallas practice squad last year. Kind of tough to break into the running game over in Dallas. Thought he might have a better chance here.
Now he's got a good buddy in tailback Greg Hill, who likes to take him with him everywhere. Yesterday, Hill came into our production meeting to talk with us about his role in the game and brought Richardson with him. Says, "I'd just like to have a fullback with me in case it turns out I need some kind of protection." That's the end of the third quarter in the Kingdome. We'll be back.
Is presented by authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the NFL is prohibited.
Jim Lampley and Bob Golick in the Kingdome. Believe it or not, in case you've just joined us, it hasn't really been all that bad a ball game. 34-3, a little bit more evenly played at scrimmage than has been the case on the scoreboard, but the Seahawks unable to capitalize on opportunities, and the Chiefs with a lot of big plays. Greg Hill on second down for the Chiefs. Cuts back into the middle and is wrapped up by Terry Wooden after a gain of about 3 or 4. It'll bring up third down for Steve Bono and company. Bono having a brilliant day.
Well, you talked about Greg Hill coming into our meetings last night, and we asked him the obvious question, what can you learn from a guy like Marcus Allen? And he said that the biggest thing he learned from Marcus was patience. How to take your time, how to find that hole, and when you find it, explode.
The numbers on Bono, and about half the yardage, or maybe even more of it, and a half has gone to wide receiver Willie Davis, who had 40 and 60-yard touchdown catches in the first half. Leroy Thompson gets the call on third down, and Cortez Kennedy makes the tackle to prevent a first down pickup. So the Chiefs now will face fourth down at the Seattle 40 with the clock running and under 14 minutes to go in the game.
Well, the thing that with Cortez, and it was a great move there, but last year without Sam being in, who was a formidable foe inside, Cortez was the guy, and we watched film, was getting doubled and triple team all the time. Now with Sam there, a nice big body who they have to contend with, Cortez has a little bit more freedom, as you see there, coming from the backside with his incredible speed and quickness for a guy that size to make that play from behind.
Number 1 draft choice back in 1990 and one of the best. Louis Aguiar prepares to punt it away for the Chiefs, and Joey Galloway waits at the 10-yard line, and this punt is astronomically high. So Galloway steps away, and the Chiefs will down it inside the 5 at about the 3-yard line. Number 44, Darren Anderson, pretty good special teams player, down there to stop it. We are back in the Kingdome. Seattle Seahawks 5 and 14 in opening games in their history, and staring at the probability of 5 and 15 as they trail 34-3 against the Chiefs. The Seahawks begin this possession from their 3-yard line, and Chris Warren tries to handle the dirty work of moving it out a little bit, and he's stopped for, at best, a gain of a yard, more like no gain probably, by Derek Thomas.
We've been talking about Derek Thomas all day and as a pass rusher, but they're asking him to do a lot on the line, controlling up against Atkins again. And just look at the size difference, but the control of that big man breaking off and making the play. What can you say? Derek Thomas.
Well, you can say that Atkins appeared to twist the left leg as he went down, and now Seattle trainers are on the field to deal with James Atkins, and Mike Kime, number 78, will leave the sideline to come on and replace Atkins at left tackle, and now Derek Thomas will probably have a new guy to work against.
Well, the one good thing is he'll be fresh.
Hey, Dale!
That's the good news.
No more.
The bad news is maybe fresh meat.
Atkins, of course, was already replacing 1992 first-round draft choice Ray Roberts, who's been sidelined after having just recently had his 4th ankle surgery in the last 8 months, just to remove some spurs, and Roberts is expected to be back and manning the left tackle position in a few weeks. But in the meantime, Atkins, his replacement, is now replaced by number 78, Mike Kime, and Thomas begins to punt yonder sack statistics. Meyer gets rid of the football from the end zone. No receiver near it. It'll be 3rd down and 10. There's Keim.
There's Keim. Well, he's the guy that unenviable task of taking on Derek Thomas. Again, on that play, they did bring Chris Warren over to help out. I think they also slid Jim Sweeney, the center, that way too, just to kind of give a little bit of a backup.
Certainly enjoyed our talk with Atkins yesterday. He's a terrific guy. Right now, he's a terrific guy with a hurting left leg. So on 3rd down 10, Keim tries to do the job on Thomas as Meyer rolls free in the end zone and throws complete to Joey Galloway, or check it, it's Ricky Prohl. And Prohl was coming back, so did he come back past the 1st down marker? Mark Collins with the stop. Prohl is hurt, and they're short of the 1st down. It looks like the right ankle for Prohl.
Yeah, definitely come back. He had to get some separation from his coverage. Came back just about a yard or two short of the 1st down, but he was being dragged down low. I think he just got his ankle caught in the turf once again.
Now, this is the essence of Seahawk football over the past 5 years. They had a relatively injury-free preseason, and now they lose 2 key guys on 2 plays.
You see him plant and come back for the ball. It's all right there. Yep. See, it just gets the foot. See, that's the terror of this AstroTurf. You get your foot stuck, you get the gripping nubs on the bottom of the shoe into that turf, and if you get any kind of weight besides your own weight, which you can control on it, that leg is stuck in there, and this is what happens: knees and ankle injuries.
Prohl's been working and working to try to get a catch. He finally gets one and comes up 1 yard short of a 1st down. 2 5 punts for a 43-yard average as he prepares to boot from the end zone. Manover at his 43. Manover spins and is hammered to the artificial turf after a 5-yard return by number 57, Jason Kyle, rookie linebacker out of Arizona State. 11 minutes, 55 seconds to go in the football game here in the Kingdome, where Marty Schottenheimer appears headed toward his 6th straight opening game victory as head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs.
That's my buddy. That's buddy Marty.
Oh, well, we'll talk about that as the game goes on. Jim Lampley along with Bob Gola. And on 1st down, the Chiefs see Greg Hill pile forward for a gain of about 4. It'll be 2nd down 6. Playoff appearances, Bob.
Marty Schottenheimer has 9 playoff appearances in the last 10 seasons. Now look at the names of the other guys. 6 for Ditka and Levy, 5 for Gibbs, Parcells, Reeves, and Seifert. But all the guys underneath Schottenheimer's name have all been in Super Bowls. Marty Schottenheimer has never been to the Super Bowl. AFC Championship games, have lost to Denver. I mean, he's lost a lot of memorable games, and that's the one onus that's been hanging over his head.
Hill again. Good block in front by number 68, Will Shields, pulling from the right guard, and Eugene Robinson and Corey Harris make the stop. Flag goes down. We'll wait to see what Howard Rowe's officiating crew cooks up with relation to this flag. And we'll talk more about Marty Schottenheimer here in a moment, because you played for him, Bob.
Yes, I did.
It's your basic hold. I gave credit to Shields for a terrific block out there. Now watch the officials call him for a hold. It'll be the old, what do you know, Lamps?
Holding number 83 offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
I'm safe. It was Danon Hughes with the hold.
Well, yeah, you're right. I did play with Marty in Cleveland, and the one thing about Marty that was very impressive and a lot of players really enjoyed is his emotionalism. I mean, this guy would have the tears in his eyes after the big victories. He'd have the tears in his eyes after the losses. A lot of times he'd be crying after a game, and we'd go, do we win or lose? But, you know, there was an excitement that he brought across. It wasn't just some guy telling us what to do. We felt like he was part of it, and I think he's taken that with him from Cleveland to Kansas City.
2nd down, 16. One setback behind Bono, and he gets the football. That's Leroy Thompson. Thompson has a gain of about 4. It'll be 3rd down, 11 for Bono and the Chiefs. So you're going to tell me that Marty is a player's coach. Now, interesting shuffling this year. 8 changes on the Chiefs coaching staff, and rumors of a serious rift between Marty and team president Carl Peterson. Do you think Peterson forced him to reshuffle the coaching staff?
You know, I think it might have, and that's one of the things that happened in Cleveland. He had a falling out with Art Modell. Art Modell wanted some control in what was happening with the assistants. Marty said, listen, I'm the guy that makes the decision as to who I'm working with, and that's where their falling out came from.
Third down and 11. That was after he got Cleveland to the AFC Championship game twice. He's done the same in Kansas City once. Leroy Thompson on third down with the football. Winston Moss making the stop for the Seahawks. The Chiefs keeping it under wraps with the 34-3 lead. Clock ticking, 9:45 to go. So now Aguiar will come on to kick it away again, and what remains of the crowd here at the Kingdome will hope for a big moment from Joey Galloway. And you look at the former coach of the Raiders, Art Shell, now coaching offensive linemen in Kansas City.
Again, there's my guy. All my head coaches are here today.
All your guys are here today.
Yeah, well, you talk about falling outs and serious rifts. There is one with Art Shell leaving Al Davis in Los Angeles. What a story that was.
Simple presence of a Kansas City Chiefs shirt and hat on Art Shell speaks volumes about how pro football is changing. Galloway steps up and makes the catch at the 17-yard line, so the Chiefs will pin Seattle inside the 20 at the 17. The Hawks will start from there when we come back. Opening day in the Kingdome, first day of Dennis Erickson's career as head coach of the Seattle Seahawks, his hometown's professional football team. Not a particularly good day. They trail 34-3. On first down, Meyer fakes twice and now throws down the seam to Christian Fourier, and the rookie tight end has his second catch of the game, brought down by William White after a pickup of 15 and a first down.
Well, once again, we see Dennis Erickson trying just about anything here to get some offense started. The problem with running some of this double reverse pass type of play is if you can't get something going, the defense isn't going to fall for it. They're pretty much going out there and playing base defense. He's going to have to just go to Meyer and let him throw the short control passes.
Meyer overthrows Joey Galloway. Galloway leaping valiantly to try to make the play against James Hasty. It'll be second down 10. We asked Dennis Erickson how well Rick Meyer was adapting to the new offense, and he said this will make a much better player out of it.
That's good coaching. He really has taken control of this team, and we looking at the numbers, looking at the stats, it does look like he has affected some changes here for the positive. Looking at the score, the fans are going to be a little rough on him, I think.
Chris Warren on second down is brought down by Keith Traylor, number 94. And Gunther Cunningham, defensive coordinator for the Chiefs, gets a chance to look at some of his backups in action in a regular season game as Vaughn Booker is on at defensive end, replacing Darren Mickle. And you saw Traylor, who's in there for Sally Amua. Bella McDaniels, number 77, playing at the other defensive tackle. Neil Smith has no backup at his defensive end position. On third down, has it picked off. Mark Collins. I think Collins is one of the most brilliant corners in the business. Just never seems to get beaten badly, and Rob Thomas was the intended receiver as Collins made the play.
Oh, we're going to take another look at Derek Thomas, since it's been the Derek Thomas show. Once again, working against Mike Keim, helped out by Chris Warren. And it seems like the offense is just a little frustrated, and I hesitate to use getting a little lazy, but it really doesn't seem like their minds are still there. They're frustrated by what's going on, and they've got to stay focused, or Meyer could get hurt.
Mark Vanover chasing Tootin's punt, takes it over the shoulder at the 10-yard line and tries to get up the sideline, does so for about 15 yards. Out to the 25-yard line, Carlester Crumpler was there to knock him out of bounds. It's 34-3, and we'll be back. 7:35 to go in the fourth in the Kingdome as you look at offensive line coach Art Shell of the Kansas City Chiefs.
I mean, is this incredible that he is wearing the red of Kansas City? I mean, he was the guy that was in the Raider family for so many years. In fact, Al Davis was the one that gave the induction speech for Art Shell into the Hall of Fame, and now the falling out that those two have had just really speaks strangely for the changes in the AFC West this year.
In a recent tongue-biting interview in the Los Angeles Times, in which you could tell that Shell might have liked to have gone further, but tried to retain his dignity. He would not single out Davis, but he said that he felt he had been sabotaged as Raider head coach by 3 assistant coaches whom he wouldn't name. He called them the backstabbers.
Right, and from what I heard out in Los Angeles is that they wanted him to move upstairs into the Raider organization. Art Shell feeling that he has a coaching future and saw it here with Marty Schottenheimer.
On second down, Rich Gannon now in the game at quarterback, replacing Bono. Shows off his slide technique. That's what they've been trying to teach Dave Brown and the New York Giants this week. Corey Harris was there to cover him for the Seahawks.
But you know how Al Davis is with people going to not only away but to rival teams.
Well, what a stroke of genius by Schottenheimer in reaching out and hiring Shell.
Certainly was.
I mean, what could possibly get under the skin of Davis more than that as you look at the final numbers on Bono, which are terrific. No interceptions to go with that. And the 3 TDs match his career high. He's done it about a half dozen times.
Well, it really shows what we said early on. He does have a grasp of this West Coast offense, and he proved it here today.
It's only the 12th start of his 11-year career. Brought down from behind is Leroy Thompson and Raphael Robinson. 4th-year player out of Wisconsin comes across from strong safety with that blitz to drop him for a loss.
Well, great awareness, going up the sweep, starting to kick it to the outside. Raphael Robinson being there, the right place, the right time, blitzing up there, being able to adjust to making the play on the run game.
In 2 weeks, Bob, Mad About You moves to its new night, Sunday at 8/7 Central.
Oh my goodness!
I'm supposed to wait until after the kick to tell you about this, so I'll wait and do it after the kick, Bob. I gave you a sneak preview. I didn't mean to. Louis Aguiar deep to punt it away for the Chiefs. Aguiar stands at his 10. Joey Galloway waiting at the 30. High, long kick. Galloway falls down at the 25, but holds on. And finally, the whistle blows. It was Dale Carter who flew across the top of Galloway's falling body as Joey was making the catch.
I would have to say that Joey Galloway fell back on purpose. I think he saw, because it really looked like he was in full control of his body. I think that he really felt that presence coming. He laid back on purpose as if not to take that full shot in the chest.
Crowd cheers as backup quarterback John Freeze comes on to get some action for the Seahawks. John Freeze, who was recruited to the University of Idaho by the man who is now his professional head coach, Dennis Erickson. Back strong in the game at fullback for the Seattle Seahawks. Brian Blade still in the game. He goes in motion. And on first down, strong with the football, gets close to another first down, a gain of about 10 before Anthony Davis makes the stop. In 2 weeks, Mad About You moves to its new night, Sunday at 8/7 Central. Must-see TV comes to NBC Sunday with Mad About You in 2 weeks, right here on NBC. Hello, Helen. Hello, Paul. And you won't have to wait for us to get off the air after the football games, Helen and Paul, because you're not on until 8 Sunday evenings in the East.
Great. Now NBC is giving me another night that I have to stay home and watch TV.
You can't. You'll be on an airplane somewhere. You won't be seeing Mad About You unless you take it. Freeze on first down. Throws complete to Blades. And Hasty was there with the coverage, but just a heck of a catch by Blades. And now his right ankle is hurting too.
Well, you know, the story right before that, what a beautiful throw and catch by John Freeze and Brian Blades, but well, all of that just tainted here by the injury, turning his ankle, it looks like, at the end of the play as he came to the sideline.
They've already lost Ricky Prohl with a right ankle injury.
See, great throw, perfectly in place as he tries to plant to kind of stop himself.
Oh, there it was. He got on number 82 there and took the awkward step and may have damaged his foot right then and there. That's Derek Walker, the reserve tight end.
Yep, and just watch this, just twisted it just enough.
Oh!
Popped it to the outside. Look at the face. Look at his face. You can see right there.
That is Seahawk luck, ladies and gentlemen.
Boy, it has been happening all day in the second half here.
All day. It's been happening all through the 90s for this franchise. I mean, this is a franchise that can't get out of the way of its own shadow. Dennis Erickson's thinking the same thing. So is Rick Meyer. Meyer's numbers on the game: 19 out of 37, 209 yards, 1 interception. The percentage was a lot higher when they were still in the game in the first half. The second half, he had to throw in a considerably more desperate situation, and the completion percentage came way down. Receivers now on the field for Seattle are Galloway, James McKnight, and Rob Thomas, as both Kroll and Blades are on the bench with ankle injuries. John Freeze looking deep to McKnight. Overthrows him just a little bit. James Hasty was back there covering.
Well, Hasty's had kind of an interesting day, a little bit of everything. He's had some good plays, had some bad plays.
You got to like the way the Chiefs are using their 3 corners, Hasty and Collins and Dale Carter.
You know, you think that you know, in a situation like a running back, you can kind of roll guys through once in a while. But at cornerback, you think they'd want to get some continuity. But these guys are so talented that they can roll them through and get the same performance out of them.
2nd down 10 after the incompletion by Freeze. We'll be going to New York in just a moment to get updated on something that's taking place elsewhere in the NFL. Throw to Galloway. Galloway can't hold on. Quickly, let's check in with Greg Gumbel here on the NBC on NFL.
All right, Jim, here's the good news in Pittsburgh. The Steelers beat the Lions 23-20 on a last-second Norm Johnson field goal. The bad news, Rod Woodson, the all-pro cornerback, could be lost for the season. The AP is reporting that Woodson damaged a ligament in his knee and is probably out for the year. The Steelers tell us they won't know until an MRI is taken tonight. And quarterback Neil O'Donnell broke the pinky on his throwing hand. His status is unknown for next week. Let's go back to Jim and Bob in Seattle.
3rd down 10 in the Kingdom. Freeze throws complete to Rob Thomas. Mark Collins was there with the coverage, but perfect throw and perfect catch. And 1st down for the Seahawks inside the 30 to the 26-yard line.
Well, as you said, what a great throw, great catch. John Freeze, a guy that's kind of bounced around a little bit. And he's always been in a situation where in front of him he's had somebody that the team has wanted to test and really has wanted to work into the lineup. So it really hasn't been a good situation, kind of like what Steve Bono has gone through for 10 years.
Meanwhile, in a moment, Bob, I got to ask you about this report out of New York. Freeze overthrows Thomas. Pittsburgh Steelers hit hard by injuries today, Bob Golick. Neil O'Donnell breaks the pinky on his throwing hand, and ligament damage for Rod Woodson, who'll get an MRI tomorrow and could conceivably be out for the year.
Well, Rod Woodson is perhaps, I feel, and a lot of people feel, is a more complete cornerback than Deion Sanders. Sanders, obviously the big play guy, the closing speed, but Woodson can play the run. So that's a big blow for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Neil O'Donnell, you know, people have questioned him as a great starting quarterback for that team, but he was the best that they had.
2nd down 10. Pass is complete to Fourier, and William White makes the stop, but the rookie tight end has yet another catch. It'll be 3rd down from the 21-yard line. Yeah, I think Woodson is as important to his defensive unit as any other individual player in the league, particularly with Deion so far not yet signed to a contract with anybody else. And for the Steelers to lose him and O'Donnell at the same time is tremendously encouraging news for the Cleveland Browns, but painful news for everybody in Western Pennsylvania. 3rd down 6 from the 21. John Freeze operating the Seahawk offense now as Rick Meyer takes the rest of the game off. And the ball is helmeted out of there by William White. They're going to call it an incompleted pass. Intended receiver was Blades, who was back in the game. So apparently not too badly damaged by the ankle injury.
Well, that's what the safety is supposed to do. They kind of come in and help out on the corners, and boom, what a shot. What a shot that William White gets on Blades. Blades gets up, but I mean, that is the bread and butter of a safety in the passing game. They love getting the shot at the guy when they're coming in to help out the corners.
Forces 4th and 6, and trailing 34-3 with 2:57 to go. The Seahawks aren't going to bother with any field goal tries. Blitz from Kansas City. Hasty on Freeze as he releases the Blades, and it's a touchdown. You saw the experience of the backup quarterback, John Freeze.
Right, and again, we saw William White on Brian Blades again. This time, White kind of messing up his footwork just a little bit, and really trying to go and close really hard on him, and just blew the coverage.
Chiefs had the kitchen sink coming on 4th down 6, and Freeze read it effectively at the line of scrimmage, got rid of the football while Hasty was right in his face, and picked up the touchdown to Brian Blades. So Blades, who exited briefly with the bad ankle, comes back, makes his 8th catch for 107 yards in the game. This one, 21 yards on 4th and 6 for a TD. Todd Peterson adds the extra point, and the Seahawks have their first touchdown of the 1995 season and now trail 34-10.
Well, now we saw the tail end of the play. Now watch this side. James Hasty blitzing inside, getting a big shot on John Freeze. John Freeze, an experienced quarterback, able to stand in there. You're going to see Hasty come in from the left side of your screen, getting his shot on Freeze as he throws. But there you see White with the bad footwork coming up, trying to close on Brian Blades. Blades being able to avoid that contact. Big catch and a score. This kind of what the Seattle Seahawks needed. This drive was a good indication and very similar to what happened in the first half of this game, where they were able to move the ball.
Brian Blades, I think I said 10 catches. Is it 11 catches already in the game for Blades? 8 catches, 107 yards. He had over 80 catches in each of the past 2 years, and I mentioned before, Bob Golick, with the new attention being paid to Galloway on the other side, Blades is going to have a chance at racking up some big numbers this year if he can stay healthy. 9 plays, 77 yards, 2 minutes 23 seconds, capped off by the 21-yard touchdown from Freeze to Blades. Small consolation for the Seahawks, but at least they don't have to go into the second week of the season still looking for a touchdown.
Well, they need consistency. Because we looked at the first half, and like we told everybody before, they had the great numbers. They stayed with the Chiefs with the yardage, but they weren't able to get any scores. This last drive was an indication of what they did in the first half also.
Peterson kicks Vanover to the sideline, and Vanover is hemmed in there as he gets out to about the 24-yard line. Vanover, who opened the second half with a 99-yard return. Now here, another look at the TD.
Now, the one we got to look at is William White right here, who is going to be in coverage on Blades. Now, Blades is going to, if we can start this here. Okay, you're going to see Blades breaking out right here, and you see White losing his footing, trying to make the break on the play. Wide open, no coverage over the top. Touchdown, Seahawks.
White intensely aware that he was alone back there. Sometimes you pressure yourself into a mistake. On first down, the Chiefs give to Greg Hill, and Hill is racked up after a gain of a few. Eugene Robinson, number 41, the third member of the infamous hot dog trio here in Seattle, who's the man who made the tackle.
Who said that he only had half a hot dog? Because that was $1,000 for half a hot dog.
The hot dogs were purchased for the 3 Seahawks players by Steve Young.
It was a plot, a conspiracy. Well, anyway, $5,000 going to local charities. The names of the 3 guys: Cortez Kennedy, Eugene Robinson,
and Rick Meyer. Gain of 8 for Hill on first down. Now the Chiefs let the clock run down to the 2-minute warning. So 2 minutes to go in the football game. Chiefs lead 34-10, and we'll be back. Questionable running game. We bring you back to the Kingdome, where Rick Meyer is a spectator for the rest of the day. And the Kansas City Chiefs have the football and are racking up some big running numbers now for Greg Hill. Hill will go over 100 yards for the day on that carry. Robert Blackman finally dragging him down, but Hill, who before that carry had rushed 14 times for 81 yards, makes it 15 for 109 on a 28-yard run.
And he's the guy that they've been looking to come in and cover for Marcus when, as Marcus ages and finally makes a decision to leave. Greg Hill is going to be the guy that's going to step in, and he really has proven that he's a formidable person to come in and step into those shoes that Marcus had.
First-round draft choice a year ago. This is how significant it is. This team went 47 games without having a guy rush for 100 yards before Marcus did it in a game last year. So they're not accustomed to coming out and having a tailback crank out a 100-yard game. Tony Richardson gets the carry on first down and has very short yardage before he's stopped by Tyrone Stowe. Coming up tonight, Television Academy Hall of Fame, followed by Lost Civilizations. It all begins at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Viewers on the West Coast will see those shows at their regularly scheduled times. The executive producer of NBC Sports is Tommy Roy. The coordinating producer of NBC's football is John Faratzis. Today's game produced by Bill Bonnell, directed by Jeff Simon, associate director Al Szymanski, production assistant Sean Robbins, production manager Emil Marzullo, and technical director Jim Orton. Thanks to all those folks and the many others who helped to put us on the air here today. Statistician Barry Culver, spotters Ron Cowden and Mike McKenna, stage manager Rob Nielsen, they all did a terrific job with us in the booth. And Dennis Erickson is gravely disappointed at his first game as a professional head coach, but Marty Schottenheimer has a 6th consecutive season opening victory as head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs.
And he's got to be happy because a lot of people picked them preseason as being losing Joe and kind of fading a little bit in the division, but this is a good indication to these guys that perhaps they have some things going for them this year.
Erickson will wait at least another week for his first win as a professional head coach. For Schottenheimer, he's used to winning, and he did it again. 34-10 Chiefs. Will be back in a moment.